All right, I'm sure you've taken a look and seen the tutorials on Flode, but I'm going to show you kind of how I use it, which is a little bit different. And I don't have much of an accent like Philip does. Philip Snalloon is the person who wrote this application. He lives in Great Britain. Good guy. I've talked to him on the phone a couple of times. Very cool application he's written here. So the first thing I'm going to show you here with Flode is we're going to do question number 4. And out of the book that says draw a flowchart, write pseudocode to represent the logic of a program that allows the user to enter a value and then divide it by 2. So pretty easy. So I'm going to call this question 4. I'm going to call this. The file type is going to be Flode because we're going to be using the flowchart application in this. Notice there are lots of other things you could create. You create Java, you create JavaScript, Python, etc. But for today, we're just doing it in good old Flode. So once we have this, we've got our Flode environment set up. We've got a start, and we've got all the different commands that show up here. There's an operation command where you do your calculations. Here's your input. Here's your output, and here's your end. Those are the big ones. The debug, we're not going to fiddle with too much in the get-go here. So the first thing we're going to do is we need some input. So when I drop this on, notice the name shows up as right here. And this is, could be whatever. You can make this whatever you want. It doesn't have to be input name 1. I think that just, I believe it's called my number is what the textbook shows it as. So we're just going to put in my number there. That's what the name of this is. But if I click in here, this is where the user can enter a value in. So I have to actually plug a value into this. Otherwise, this won't run. So this is the name of your variable, my number. Here's the actual value of it. And if you think about variables being containers that hold numbers, this is what we're doing. So in this case, I put my number of 5 in here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the calculation. So here's where I take the operation. And I'm going to drop it right here. In fact, I'll go down a little bit so that we can read a little bit better. You can adjust how wide these are, but the formula is going to be total is equal to or assigned to my number divided by 2. And that's all we have to do with that there. And then we're going to have our result come out here. And in case you forget, you're like, oh, what's the result? I don't remember. Well, if you just hover your mouse over, it will tell you what it is. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to drop it right down here. And you notice there's a little printer icon next to that one. This has a little pencil icon. This means you actually have to put a value in. This means it's going to output a value. So notice there's no real value here for output. So in this case, I just have to put in total, because the calculation already happened in the statement right above here. So I'm going to drop this down and end the application. And then here's where you go through and connect it. And if you hover your mouse just for a second there, you'll see a little line will pop up. And we'll connect this with this with this. Uh-oh, I got one too many here. There we go. Sometimes I get a little click happy. And then once we have this, we should be able to run this application. And in this case, the first input, the number that went in was 5. And you can see it right down here. So the total is 2.5. So this is how you get it out. So now that this is all done here, you could screenshot this. You can control, it depends on what kind of a computer you're using to screenshot this, but you can screenshot this and send this out to me. These don't print, unfortunately, but you can use the regular values within whatever browsing you're using to go ahead and print this out. In this case, I probably could use a PDF. Yep, there's a printed PDF, and I can get that outputted file to my computer, and that's something you could attach. So hopefully you use this technique to go through and tinker with Flode, and I hope this works for you, and let me know if you have any questions.